Hi, so today we're heading out to St. Augustine. Pretty excited about it. We've been there before and we really want to share with you some of our favorite places and discover new things with you there. St. Augustine is actually one of the oldest European occupied cities in the United States. It is the oldest. I believe it's been occupied since 1535, which actually makes it almost 500 years old, which is crazy in U.S. history time. So let's go to St. Augustine and see what we can discover. Welcome to St. Augustine's Public Square. This was actually the first public square in St. Augustine. And this is important because you can see right over there is the water. That's the bay where the ships would bring goods in. And that's the Bridge of Lanterns, just to get an orientation point to where we are. So now this is the public square. This is the place where the goods would be brought in from the ships or outside the city walls from the farms, brought into this area and then traded. In addition to this, we have the first treasury right over there, which was 1929, and the old governor's house there, which was also part of the city so that they could watch the goods come in and tax them. So this restaurant is Casa Riena, and we ate here last time we came. They have another great outdoor rooftop bar. They have all this outdoor seating. And good place to come have something different, which is Mexican on your Florida vacation.
So one of the things I really like about these old towns and the historic parts is that the houses have zero setbacks. You can see they're right against the street. So there's no sidewalks, they're right butted up right to where the street starts. And it's kind of a neat thing, and that's one of the ways that I know I'm always in a historic district.
So this is the River and Fort restaurant. It's actually a newer restaurant in St. Augustine. We ate here last time we were in town. It's got a great rooftop bar, lots of seating, and amazing views from some of the tables here. So it's a place that we recommend you come to, whether it's for dinner or drinks. And it's called the River and Fort. So I was finding out a whole bunch of things about St. Augustine and the room that we stayed in. And the room we stayed in was called Fort Mose. And I didn't know why. I was like, what is that? And in the room they had this great little book. And it gave the history of Fort Mose. So apparently, as the English colonists over here brought African slaves over and they escaped, they started escaping to Florida and specifically to St. Augustine because they heard that the Spanish were offering sanctuary. So they would escape their plantations and they would come down here. And Fort Mose was actually the first African town that was sanctioned. So over 100 slaves were down here, which was quite a large population at the time. And that was the first African town in the United States. So St. Augustine has a lot of firsts. It's the first settlement that's continuously occupied. So it's the oldest town in the United States. And it's also the first town of African Americans that were escaped slaves. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
A lot of history.
A lot of history.
And our history buff here is going to probably tell you much more about it.
Yeah, we're
sure.
just getting started.
We'll go see the also the fort that's here as
Yeah,
well.
we're
That'll
gonna
be
go
on.
see
That's on our agenda to go check out.
This morning, so let's go do that. Hi, so we've made it to St. Augustine and we are here at the Fountain of Youth. The Fountain of Youth is something everybody wants to find. How do we reverse the clock and get younger and younger? Well, Ponce de Leon found the Fountain of Youth right here in Florida, so why don't we check it out, see if it works for us. So
be over 509 years old, never been moved.
Wait.
The
What
sign,
is the cross?
yep, the sign, and this will tell you all about the artifacts.
The cross
That's-
is over 500 years old. Wow.
That sign will tell you all about it. Right next to it, they found the salt cellar, the document. That's how they're able to prove this where Ponce landed.
Ah.
Remember, Columbus never came here.
No.
Columbus never gets close to what we now call the United States. Ponce de Leon is the first European to make a formal claim. Right on that spot, they say it all began
Wow.
509 years ago.
Wow. Right on that spot, 509 years ago is where they claimed America.
And that's the claim right there. That parchment paper was found inside the salt cellar. And
That's
since
amazing.
then, we have had it carbon dated by the University of Phoenix, Arizona. And it comes out to be well over 500 years old.
Wow. That's incredible.
And when Ponce de Leon was claiming Florida, on this spot, Florida went from New Jersey to California, from Texas to Canada. If you
Really?
lived in Canada back in those days, you lived upstate Florida.
Oh my gosh,
Now
that's
that's about 40
crazy.
years.
Wow.
Now the
That's,
dioramas in here, these scenes you're looking at,
yeah.
this is what you would have seen at the 1939 World's Fair.
Okay.
Up in New York City, this was in the Florida Pavilion for the New York World's Fair in '39.
Oh,
Water coming out of the ground like that, we generally call a spring. Scientists, geologists call that a boil. Spanish call that a fountain, fuente. So they stopped bubbling up during the Civil War. So many people moved here, the water table dropped. Just like today, more people, water table dropped.
Right.
No longer did it bubble up, no longer artesian. That's when they put wells in. First wells, that black and white picture back there in the 1800s, 1900s, we used a bucket on a pole and scoop water up. Now we pump the water up from 240 feet down. But it's the same exact source Ponce and his men were drinking 509 years ago. And we've had the Smithsonian here, Princeton University, now it's University of Florida, Gainesville. They carbon date humans to move up on this spot going back about 3,700 years.
Really?
Into the
3,000.
water. But this would have been ponds and swamps and forests back then.
Right.
So now we're pumping it up, we're used to pump it.
Right. So we're standing in a place where people lived 3,700 years ago.
Yeah, more than that, I know this area, at least 4,000 years ago back, but they know for sure at least 3,700 right here.
That's awesome.
So I can tell you all about the
This is
Okay.
this is the fountain view.
I'm thinking during my trip that we're going to
Columbus
go back.
never came here. Yep. Ponce de Leon was the first European to make a formal claim. Right on that spot, they say it all began 509 years ago. First interaction between Europeans and Native Americans and what we now call the United States.
It's
Do I look younger?
yes. Why yes you do.
Do I look younger? If you come to Florida, any place you drink tap water, you're actually drinking fountain of youth.
Right there's me and you.
Cheers. Okay, well, or at least young at heart.
Okay. De Leon.
So this is the oldest continuous inhabited European city, and it all started right here. And it's also where the Fountain of Youth was found. So let's go check out and see what they've got.
So in this park they have a lot of peacocks running around. They're everywhere. Hello. I guess they're not shy. Oh yeah, what is that, Lise?
So I may pronounce it wrong, but it's tinajones. So these are the large clay pots that were actually like the water catchers for the Indians. This was where they kept their water. They were their water pots. So they always had a supply of water, and as we walk around the park, you'll see these big clay pots. And that's what they were used for, fresh water. So these are called dugout canoes. And what's super cool about those is they actually would burn a fire in them and then hatch it and knock the wood out until they had a canoe. So you can see it's just like a big tree that's half fallen, and then they burn it out and dig it out, and then it floats in the water, and that becomes their canoe. Pretty cool.
It's pretty interesting.
And these cuts show examples of how the Timucuans lived. They said the roundness and the pitch of the roofs made it nice in the Florida weather because it kept the insides cooler. So shade and cooling.
Oh, so the heat escapes out the top. So you can see the top doesn't have like grass on it
Right.
or topping or whatever.
Yeah, there's
Thatch.
thatch on it. And here they said is a typical meal that the Indians would eat. So you can see pumpkins and squash. We've got fish and crabs, oysters, lots of oyster shells. They say they found around here. And they said that the people lived in about groups of 200. So that there was about 200 people to a village, and that was the number they needed to help sustain life and help support each other, but not have too many people that they couldn't feed them.
What is actually cooler in here?
Oh, it is way cooler in here. Yeah. Alligator skin.
And they had fire extinguishers.
No. How about a broom? How about a broom to sweep
Oh, you
out?
think that's what these are, brooms?
Yes, that's a broom. That's what they were used for.
Ah,
Yes.
look at that. It works.
And fire extinguishers. Said that each huts lived about 2 or 3 generations of people, and they actually had a walled city around the huts, so to protect from enemies and animals. So they would have wall city. And then this would maybe be their large council hut, where they would actually hold tribal councils and things. And it could hold 60 people in the tribe, most of the adult males. Hello,
Hello.
how you doing? Are we cooking?
Actually, today we're not cooking. We'll leave that over to the cafe.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, technically what we do have here is we are doing the same thing that the Canucklin would be doing to get rid of mosquitoes. Kind of
Oh,
smell that aroma.
oh
That's
yeah.
a cedar. And so they would
Oh.
be using a cedar tree. Mostly inside, you know, these would be the small ember fires that would burn. You know, you're back over there.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it really is. They're
You had to keep the mosquitoes off you. So
You do. And so they're not going to just tolerate those things any more than we are.
Yeah.
So they're going to find those solutions in the environment around them. And we really appreciate that. You know, as we're staying down here, using the methods that they would use, everything is multi-purpose. It does, I believe, tall Cherokee is Cherokee, and so that's a Cherokee symbol. I do know that in a lot of the indigenous peoples, realms 3 and 7 receive different numbers. They're having the cardinal directions in the southeast and west, but at the bottom you have Mother Earth, and watching out over you, other sky, and the center, leave it there, and that line will change all the way down to the
okay, so this is the original mission church.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, on the grounds is when the Spanish came. This is one of the original Catholic missions. Actually, it is the original Catholic mission in the United States, in America. And it was started by the Spanish. And they, of course, what they tried to do was to convert the Indians over to be Catholics. They always tried to do that. So there were more than 100 burials inside the church. Efforts to convert the Indians to Christianity began in 1577, 4 years after the Franciscan friars arrived in Florida. So they've been at this right.
Okay, that's
They did across California and everywhere else, right?
all right.
Quite a pretty church, especially for back then.
Yeah, really. I mean, for what they had back then to work with.
Yeah, beautiful.
So tonight we're eating at the Ice Plant Bar and Restaurant. Okay, good. So last night we ate at the Ice Plant Bar and Restaurant. They're kind of known, people around here, it's kind of known for their cocktails.
Yes. So Josie and Adam actually told us to go there and just go to the bar and tell the bartender to make me something special. So they did, and that was pretty amazing in and of itself. It's really a creative thing they have going there.
I didn't go quite so bold as to have some made just off the cuff. I had an old fashioned. Lisa had a
With regards, Lisa. That's what we named it now.
With regards, Lisa. Yeah, it was good, right?
Yeah, it was delicious.
It was a good drink. And now, and you would think it's a bar kind of thing, but their food is right on. I thought. Well, we shared two dishes. We had the beet salad.
Yeah, I love my beet salads. If you've been watching, it's one of my go-tos.
And it was super good. It was really good.
It's different, but it was really good.
Now the other thing I've never heard of before was pan-fried chicken and hoe cakes.
Yeah.
Now, of course, everybody asks what's a hoe cake. A hoe cake is a little like a dollar-sized pancake that's made with cornbread and I think he said also pancake mix, kind of. I don't know. Very, very good. It was their version of chicken and waffles.
So it was both sweet and savory. So it was the hoe cakes were had a little sweet touch to it, and the fried chicken was savory. And honestly, one of my favorite meals ever. It was that good. It was
I
a
would
surprise.
almost come back here just for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so good.
And they had a beef Wellington, which we didn't get. But the guy that was telling us about it said it's so good that he works there. He's had it 3 times in the last 2 weeks. So that would also be a great,
Almost got it, but then
but
it's
I'm
so
not,
much food.
Yeah, a lot of food. So anyway, so we give that place 2 thumbs up, and if you're in town, definitely go over there. St. Augustine is a foodie place, and every time we're here, we discover new places that have amazing meals.
Right, we're going to go back to a place that we discovered
We're going to
before.
take you there next.
Right, which is?
Maple Street.
Maple Street for breakfast.
Yeah, so
We've been there before. It was so good. It's worth a trip back.
let's go see if it's still as good as it was. We'll see you in a few.
City of Lights, St. Augustine. It's amazing, beautiful. The number of lights on some of the streets are crazy.
So, a lot of lights. Here we go. There's one building. That's a lot of lights.
Hi. Okay. So, first of all, 2 lattes. That's the air starter.
You just want no flavoring?
Yeah, no flavoring. Hot, regular. And then he's always on the search for the perfect country fried steak. So we're gonna try to do this. Okay, thank you so much. And I'm thinking if we do the 3-layer cake on the side, that would be a good one. Does that sound great?
I couldn't even finish. Oh, yes. So that was good.
That's awesome.
All right, 2 fried. Perfect. And how we're gonna call your order is what you're most thankful for besides something.
I like hash salad. besides out there, freedom. Yeah. That's what I'm most thankful for.
Okay, 29.82.
I thought compliments to Lisa would have been good.
Huh?
I thought compliments to Lisa would have been good.
So far, really good. I am always looking for the perfect chicken fried steak. And I think it's my brother, Richard. Always looking for the right chicken fried steak. Now this looks like it might be on the top of the chicken fried steak list. And
And I got the 3-layer cake, which is, oh, here you can see. It's actually hash browns layered and gravy with an egg on top. I don't know, it looks delicious. And if I eat all of this, I will be 800 pounds pretty quickly.
probably not gonna eat. They have a lot of food here, by the way. I don't
And
think we're
because we were first-time customers, they went ahead and gave us these extra biscuits. Yeah, so this was a little
free dessert.
bonus. So we'll see.
for being first time.
See how that goes. Okay, we'll take a little bite so you guys can see. Okay. I'm gonna try to get everything.
Again, presentation. If we could bring into this thing. Oh, by the way, dog friendly out on the front patio here where we're sitting, as you can hear in the background there. So we'll come here, bring your dog.
It looks fabulous.
Right. You don't eat, I will.
Okay, deal.
Right, first bite.
Mine is real pepper steak.
Well, one of the things is they make everything from scratch. So from the gravies to the jellies to the biscuits to the hash browns I just tried, mine is fabulous.
Oh yeah,
Yours?
top contender.
Top contender for the best chicken fried steak ever.
A really good chicken fried steak. Almost got chicken and waffles. Those look amazing too. I took a picture up on the counter of some of these chicken waffles. By the way, you order your food, you give them a name that's not your name. Ours was Freedom, and somebody was ice cold beer.
Because they asked what is the thing that you're most thankful for besides family and friends. And they said ice cold beer. So we've been laughing at the names of what people are saying out here. All right, we're gonna enjoy our breakfast. We just got our lattes. The girl told me that she's still working on them, so they're not as pretty as she wanted them to be, but they taste great.
Back to caring. How do you like that?
Back to caring.
This town cares
Yeah.
about us, about everyone.
Welcome to our Spyglass Walk-in History Tour. My name's Kevin. I'm going to be showing you guys around St. Augustine today. I'm actually a partner in Spyglass Travel along with my lovely wife Angie, which makes me the junior partner every single time. We founded the company 6 years ago. We both have about 19 years experience in the tourism business here in St. Augustine, and I've lived in the area some 49 years. I grew up in a little town called East Palatka, Florida, about 20 miles west of here. Culturally about 10,000 miles away from St. Augustine. It's very much Old South, but very proud of the history of St. Augustine and very protective of it as well. I'm all about the real history. I don't like cleansed history, whitewashed history, God forbid, fake history. History's not always pretty. Sometimes there's some bad stories, sometimes there's some bad people in it, but we can learn from all of it. So welcome to our Walk-in History Tour.
Perfect. And then give me your direct website address.
Our direct website is www.spyglasstravel.org. That is the way directly to get a hold of us for our walking history tour and our haunted history tour as well.
Awesome.
This is our first one, Talamato Cemetery. This is the oldest Catholic cemetery in all of Florida. Established as the city's official Catholic cemetery in 1737 with the construction of a church next door that was known as the Indian Church. There anymore, it's right where that parking lot is today. They weren't very politically correct back then. For a native convert to Catholicism would have worshipped, Europeans have their own congregation downtown. And as you look around the Talamato, you only see about 100 standing headstones and above ground crypts. There's over 1,100 burials here that we know of. But the hills are man-made. We have no hills like this anywhere near St. Augustine. And they have their own defensive purpose. They're called glacier. And the glacier changed the angle of attack anyone attacked the walls of the fort. If you're on a 2 to 3 story structure trying to defend it with a musket, and people are running across open ground, they're very hard to shoot because the angle keeps changing as they're running. This changes their angle of attack to where they're running right at you. You'll notice the hills point right at the top of the walls of the fort. Much easier to shoot somebody running right at you, and also they're running uphill, which slows them down. Subtle but effective. Now the real genius of the fort is in its construction. The water batteries here, water battery walls, is where a ship's going to try to come up and blow your fort away. These walls are 18 feet thick at the base, 4 to 5 feet thick at the top, and they're built in a pyramid shape all the way down. Reason for the pyramid shape: you can't knock over a wall built like a pyramid. It won't fall over no matter how hard you hit it. The rest of the wall, same shape, 13 feet thick at the base, 3 to 4 feet thick at the top. The real advantage of the fort is an accident. It's that coquina stone it's built out of. Turns out it's a cannonball. That's a lucky strike. Now, they didn't know that when they built it. They just used the only stone that was locally available. They didn't find out it's cannonball proof until 1702 CE. The first cannonballs to strike the fort did practically nothing. Then they realized they really had nothing. Now the second hotel Mr. Flagler builds, the one with all the amenities inside, right across the street. Today's Lightner Museum opens as the Alcazar Hotel, January of 1889, the following year. Inside the Alcazar, you're going to find a number of things to do.
They do a great job. This is the Centennial we're in front of right now. Their sign was destroyed by Hurricane Nicole. Hopefully they'll get that back up. See the remnants of it laying there. Don't be fooled by this one looking kind of modest on the outside. It is spectacular inside. You get a chance to go online and look at the Centennial, gorgeous on the inside. Now the reason Mr. Flagler is acquiring a ton of land when he comes to Florida harkens back to his first visit to St. Augustine. When he first comes to St. Augustine, the Eastern Seaboard Railroad coming down the east coast of the United States stops coming south in Jacksonville, Florida. After that, you have to catch a ferry across the St. Johns River, and then catch a horse-drawn rail car the additional 18 miles into the city of St. Augustine. Hot, miserable, and a little bit dangerous. Mr. Flagler notes that these rich and powerful folks he's targeting with his hotels will never travel in that fashion. To solve the problem, he buys up all the local rails south of the St. Johns River. There's 3 small railroads. None of them connected to each other. They don't even share the same gauge of rail. But he creates the Florida East Coast Railway. A thriving company still today. The railroad tracks out by US 1, that's the same exact company. He builds the first railroad bridge across the St. Johns River and brings the rail right into St. Augustine so his guests can arrive in comfort and style. The state of Florida loves what he does with it because it's going to develop the area. And at this time in our state's history, we're the poorest and least populated of all 44 states. We're so poor we can't even afford to build our own infrastructure. Mr. Flagler can't afford it. So the state of Florida makes him a deal. Every mile of railroad track he will build in the state of Florida, cash out of pocket, they will give him 3,480 acres of Florida land along the tracks. Mr. Flagler knows a good deal when he hears it. By the time he passes away in 1913, he has extended the railroad all the way to Key West. Needless to say, Florida owes him a lot of land. To make the land pay off, he creates a real estate company. But everybody wins in the end. Florida gets that infrastructure built they never could afford to build on their own. So Flagler gets his money back out of the investment by selling off the land he's given in exchange. And the people of Florida win because now industry and opportunity are coming to places they never existed before. And really, he creates Florida in the modern sense that we know today. Now, when Henry starts first building his very first luxury hotel here in St. Augustine with Ponte de Leon, he realizes immediately he's going to have a problem. And the problem is, nothing fun to do in 1880 St. Augustine. To solve that problem, I'll tell you at the next stop, so come on. College, but from the hotel perspective. The entire interior design of the hotel was done by a different so it's extravagant to be honest. And you get to go into the old ballroom, which is today's dining hall. But it boasts the largest collection of Tiffany stained glass windows in the world. 22 full-size Tiffany stained glass windows, rumored to be insured for over $30 million. The windows are protected on the outside by a bulletproof plexiglass. There to protect them from hurricanes and college students. Equally as destructive. I'll show you on the front of the store where the tour begins. 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock every day. That'll be the front of the store. Now we're about to step down the side. We're still on the side of the hotel. We're going to go down here and talk about the only darker part of the Flagler legacy. And as you might have guessed by now. It's that second wife, Ida Allison. What happened to her, the nurse? Let's go find out what happened to her.
Hello. So how does it work? I buy a card, and it has so many ounces on the card. Is that how?
You don't actually buy the card, you just take it off.
I rent a card.
They'll swipe a debit or credit card.
Okay.
Start a tab for you, and then I'll give you one of these to use while you're here. You'll take it, you place it like that in the reader, and then you have control of all the
Perfect.
your outfit, you take what's
Now you put your card in. It registers you up here. That's what it's been so far. It's for $7.04. So we're gonna try the fishware. The fish. What was it? Okay. Anyways, so here we go.
Oh wait, I
So
can't
you
see
watch
because
it,
your hand.
and then you can watch it up here as you pour. It tells you the amount that's going up.
I want to just see the pour. I can't see your hands in there. You go. Okay.
And you can pour as little or as much as you want.
So this is a national park. So if you have a national park pass, you get in with your pass, an annual pass. If not, it's $15 per person. For an annual pass, it's $80 a person. And it's good for a year. So this is the drawbridge that goes on into the port. Now this is, our guide was telling us about this structure is to protect the front door, which is right there. This structure I pointed to, yes. And it's all made of stone or a natural coquina, which is taken out of the bay. And when they take it out of the bay, it's super soft where they can literally cut it with a saw, and then they age it for a year and it becomes super hard, but yet
By letting it dry in the sun.
But yet cannonball proof, because when a cannonball hits it, it kind of sinks into it or bounces off of it, but doesn't act like concrete and shatter the whole wall.
Because of the air pockets. And you can see up here, or here, like all the little shells that this is made of, and there would be some of the air pockets. So this is just really sediment.
Sediment,
Really?
yeah, that's right.
Sediment in the river that they cut into these stones and let them cured for a year, and here it is. Pretty crazy.
So we're actually walking on the drawbridge. No, this isn't the drawbridge. That's the drawbridge right there.
Yeah. I'm sure this is all rebuilt. This would have been the original.
Well, the wood is. All the coquina is original. So the original restrooms here were called privies, and like Lisa was just saying, when you go to the bathroom, it just goes right out on the outside of the wall into the moat.
So this room actually looked like this. It was one of the most decorated rooms. It actually had frescoes and a place where the officers and stuff would eat in this room with this closed.
Right, we learned the frescoes in Italy, which a fresco is the paint is actually put into the plaster as a coloring when the plaster is put on the walls, which are called frescoes.
So this is where the pay chest, where they used to pay their people and important documents. This was their treasury room, where literally their safe room, where they would put all their important money
and paper goods and everything was stored in this room.
Kind of like the vault.
And these rooms are very cool, because, I mean, it's not very hot outside, but the rooms are definitely cooler with all this cocoon stuff. And you can see some of the plaster still on top of the stones on this, in these rooms. So this guy, his name is Osceola. And as you travel around the U.S., there's Osceola streets. There is in Clearwater where we live, and I never knew what it meant to it. This Indian's name is Osceola, and he resisted the United States forced relocation of Indians. So he was totally against that. And he was an Upper Creek, and his father was a Scottish trader. So he was actually both Indian and Scottish. So he was an Upper Creek Indian and a Scottish trader. So he urged the Florida Seminoles to fight for their lands. And that was part of who he is. And he was briefly held in this castle when he was captured during the Second Seminole War. So he was here, and he died 3 months later in a fort up by Charleston. So this is Osceola, and I hear that name all over the place, and I didn't know where it was from.
I did not know that either.
More rich history in St. Augustine. So this was the church area, and Catholics, which the Spanish were, always, when you go to church in a Catholic church, you dip your hands in holy water and make the sign of the cross. And these were built into the walls here as part of this. So there's, this was their room where they had masses, and that was part of their ceremony. Dipping in holy water and making the sign of the cross when you walked into a church. This is an interesting person, because we learned that the Indians that were found in Ponce de Leon or Juan Pong from Leon, which is what his real name is. It's not Ponce de Leon, it's Juan Pong from Leon, Ponce de Leon. But when he came here, the Indian tribe was actually not, the power didn't pass from father to son, it passed from mother to daughter. And this was one of the women that must have come from this tribe, because here, so in Spanish Florida, property often passed from mother to daughter, and many women ran businesses and amassed holdings of real estate. She was the third of 6 daughters and married several times, and she raised her family in a household by herself for years. But like most of the Indians, she fled to Cuba when the British came and took over, because they were not so tolerant of other people and other religions and other nationalities. Interesting, more history. I was wondering this as we were hearing about the different histories. I knew that the Spanish settled it, and then the British took it over, but then it went back to Spain, and I didn't know how. So apparently what happened is there was a siege on Pensacola. So the Spanish came in and seized Pensacola, which is up in the Florida Panhandle. And when they did that, the British then agreed to a treaty to end the war and return Florida back to Spain. So that's how it went from Spanish to British back to the Spanish. So the people from the town fled into the sport, and you can see by the people walking around how big this place is. It's not very, very large, but 1,200 people were living here during the siege. And they brought in all their livestock and everything also. So this was a place, they said they had 3 wells, so they were able to get fresh water. But all the townspeople were living here during the siege, which I think was 2 months, they said, about 56 days.
That's a long time for 1,200 people to be living in a small courtyard area.
So this would be where that they kept those were used to stuff the balls into the cannons.
Powder
And the balls.
Then the cannonballs.
Yeah.
Right?
Powder kegs.
Powder kegs, where they keep that.
Yeah. So this is Pedro Menendez, and this is what our guide was telling us, that he was sent over by Spain when they heard that the British were coming over. So he was sent over to actually formed St. Augustine to populate Fort Augustine or St. Augustine as a colony. So he was the original person that came over here and brought people to populate St. Augustine. And he was the person that defended it when the Huguenots landed. The people who were fleeing French persecution came from France and settled up in northern Florida, a little bit north of here, maybe 40 miles. And he was sent up there also to defend it and take it back from them. And we heard the story of that. So this is the guy. Interesting. Look over here. I'm trying to point this way. See that over here?
The entrance to the bay.
The entrance to the bay where the British ships would have come in. And the British ships were stuck out there because they couldn't come into this bay because it wasn't deep enough. So the bay was only 9 feet deep at the tide, and the British ships needed about 20 feet clearance, and they got stuck at the bay. What they say about the cannons is that they were so good at firing the cannons that even at that distance out there, they could actually hit them. So they had to park way outside of the bay because when they got into that narrow things, the cannon were so good, and the people who fired it, that they could actually hit the ships as they were coming into the bay. So this was a perfect location. It was the only way they could come in and out of here. And at the time, St. Augustine was surrounded on 3 sides by water. So this was the way that they fortified and held against it. And the big tower there was used in order to spot ships coming in and out.
And you can see how narrow the passageway is out there for the enemy ships to come through.
And did you see the tower?
Mm-hmm.
So over there you can see the double moat. So they had the moat, and then they had the wall here. And then beyond that, they actually had the wood structure. So there were 3 layers coming into this.
So interesting, what our guide was telling us on earlier is that you can see how the wall goes up,
Yeah.
and then on the outside the land is kind of sloped out. So as enemy is coming up that slope, they're always at the same level as they're moving, easy targets.
Yeah. So they're
As
not
they're
going
moving.
down.
That's
they're
why
not-
it's sloped up to the
Right.
wall instead of being a wall.
Right.
Genius. You can see how thick the wall is here, and how a cannonball would have a very difficult time penetrating that. And the coquina being absorbent of the cannonballs. Either they would stick in it or they would just bounce off of it, unlike concrete or stone where it would reverberate through it and destroy the wall, crack it and shatter it. We're going to go explore the collector inn's grounds, the common areas, where the common folk hang out.
Yeah. I think that's really cool.
Oh, it's like a theater.
Yeah. And probably when we do the historic.
All right. So this is kind of a nice little sitting area. So this is called the Well, where he said it's their on-site bar.
And we're definitely going to come back.
Right, happy hour from 5 to 6, and oddly enough, 9 to 10.
A little dipping pool.
He did dipping pool.
Yeah, which is
So we're here in November, and the temperature is quite beautiful. Yesterday was 85 degrees it got up to, and I think today it probably got pretty close to that as well.
Yeah.
It was only supposed to be in the 70s, but it's a lily. Oh, koi pond. Look at that. There's another little seating area.
a little private garden.
With naked people. Son of a... Damn it. Quit winning. Okay, so this is Juan Pan. Everybody thinks this is Ponce de Leon, and that's what I thought earlier today. But come to find out, his name is not Ponce de Leon. It's Juan Pan. And Lisa says
It's because he's from Leon. So from Leon in Spanish is de Leon. So he became Juan Pan de Leon. I don't know how the Ponce came in.
Ponce.
But maybe Ponce is not said Ponce, maybe it's said Pon. But anyway, so it's Juan Pan de Leon. That's actually his name, or maybe Juan Ponce de Leon.
But it's fun to say Ponce de Leon. That's why, it's because it's fun to say Ponce de Leon. Oh, it's a nice little garden area. Several seating areas. So over here we have free bikes to use at any time. Complimentary.
Complimentary bikes.
Okay.
I'll show you where the coffee is in the hall.
Okay.
It's just Hi. I just wanted to show you where the coffee
Been there, did that. It was amazing.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
I wasn't expecting oh, bar restaurant is so good.
With even the different ice cube shapes for all the drinks that they have,
Yeah,
it's down to the detail.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That was very cool.
And you're,
So this is the Gonzalez Alvarez house. And this is actually the oldest house, so pan that way. And it was next to the Tovar house. And it says here that it was built in 1702. And it was originally a one-story rectangle with 2 rooms. And it was again built by the British after the Spanish had burnt down the place. So the 1 story, so you can see that the 2nd story was probably added with the wood structure later on.
From the outside in the original city gates. So this were the original city gates to the thing. There would have been wood here that was closed and people watching them so that you couldn't have people getting into the city without the permission of the city. And then this comes right down to now what is St. George Street, which is now closed off, but it used to be just a dirt road, of course. So these are the original city gates.
Okay, so we're walking, this is
St. George
St.
Street.
George Street.
In St. Augustine's, and it's early morning, so we like to come before the crowds get busy because it does get crowded on this street. This is the street with all the restaurants and everything. Oh, look, Prohibition Kitchen. We ate there last night. Great stores to browse. Yep, Five and Dime, Earthbound. Great stores just to go in and out, spend a little time. There's the Columbia restaurant. Same one that's in Tampa. Delicious place to eat.
Beer and a cigar. This is $8.99. You get a beer and a cigar. So how can you beat that? This place has a great deal. That's me. There we go.
This was a cool sign last night, though. This was on our tour last night, and I just wanted to get a daytime shot of it, because this is what they're saying that the town looked like in 1764. So over on this side there, that's the fort, and then this is how wide the town was. What, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks wide only. And this Indian and his wife from Spain lived here. And they were born in a Spanish mission village, moved into St Augustine. So they were actually living here in this village. There. So we didn't eat here this time, but this is called the St. George Restaurant, and we ate here on our last trip, and phenomenal. Highly, highly recommended, but you do have to get reservations, so make sure you do that. And it is right outside the city gates. So these are the original city gates to the city. Now, they say that the pillars used to be wood and then they had to redo them into stone, but this is the original pillars, the original entrance to the city.
Okay, what is this? Prayer chain.
So it's a prayer chain. So you can write down any prayer that you want to put up, and then it just stays up here. Is that cool?
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
So,
And there's the overflow down there. Look at that. Overflow.
yeah.
You gonna write your prayer?
Yeah. I did a prayer because this is what I like, and I want for everybody to have world peace and happiness for everybody, and love and joy. We had tolerance for each other, and appreciation for each other, and patience with each other, and everybody. So that's my prayer.
So this is the Prohibition Kitchen that we stopped in for dinner. We stopped here once before a while back. It was really good, and we're gonna try it again.
This is a tangerine drink. Try it. Looks like.
It's an interesting glass.
Strong, but it's tasty.
So here we're looking at the
Rib,
short rib
grilled cheese.
grilled cheese sandwich. And this over here is the PK hamburger.
Yeah.
PK burger,
It's got a whole bunch
which has an egg on it, which I've never had an egg on my burger before. So this is uncharted territory for me. And the grilled cheese looks really good. All right, let's give it a shot. Good.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So I yelled at fourth graders all day today, so just, bear with me.
Good.
But you know what? There aren't any ghosts as a result of that, so that worked out well. Good. My friends, my name is Rob, and I do have the privilege and honor of being your tour ghost host this evening for about the next 90 minutes. And it's awesome because I get to take you through the haunted city of St. Augustine. Some say it's one of the most haunted cities in the nation. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'll let you figure that out on your own. Who are my believers? Raise your hand. Who are my I got well, this is gonna be easy. I'll tell you whatever the heck I want. Won't you see that? Look, there's one right there. No, but seriously, ask that question. As I said, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm going to show you, and I hope that you're able to show me tonight, because St. Augustine is one of those places. I can't tell you why they're here, but I can tell you that they are. You know, I've got 90 minutes to share stories with you, and I've kind of got to keep us in a, you know, geographically constrained area to do that tonight. But I assure you, if I gave you all, you know, day tomorrow, I can tell you stories all day tomorrow too. Well, this one's a little different. I'm going to tell you one that happened on October the 14th of 2014. Because it happened to yours truly. You see, back in 2014, I had a little, adorable, 10-pound, jet black Shih Tzu dog named Fenway. He was my buddy. And Fed and I, we used to go out, we used to go wander through the city. We'd go walk between 3 and 5 miles a day. And when your legs are only that long, that's quite a trip. But he nonetheless, man, you put him in his little orange jacket, you hook that little leash onto him, and man, he was like, damn, let it go. He wanted to get out and move. But on this particular night in question, we came walking down here, and we got to roughly where we stopped, right about here. And my dog did something odd. Normally he would increase his gait because he knew he had to pull me and my fatness up that hill right there. But not this night. He got to right here and stopped. He became a little 10-pound boat anchor. And I'm like, come on, guy. But you see, my dog is looking like this. He's like straight up staring out here somewhere. But I can't see anything. I mean, I'm looking out there. I don't see a thing. So I reach down, I kind of get his ears, I go, come on, buddy, you know, I fluff his ears a little bit. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Nah. His demeanor changed again. My dog goes like this. He goes, "Arr!" Do you guys know how terrifying it is when a 10-pound Shih Tzu growls at you? I mean, you will pee down your leg just a little bit. I'm comfortable. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. That's what I smell. All right. And I'm like, whoa, fella, that's not normal. And then he completely goes out of his mind. My dog goes into this. He's like, which that's not my dog at all. And I'm like, whoa, Cujo, let's take a moment, you know? And so I'm like, maybe my dog can experience something. Maybe my dog can see something that I can't see. So like I asked you all to do over there and asked how you were here, I said, I'll take out my camera. And I took pictures of myself. I went click, 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 click. I then picked up my 10-pound dog because, well, he weighs 10 pounds. Carried him to the top of the hill and we continued on our walk. But when I got home later that night, well, that's when it got a little odd, you see. I fed him, I petted him a little bit, and he went to bed, and I decided I was going to download my photos from my phone onto my computer. And when I did, that's when my jaw hit the table. Because I didn't see anything. Didn't see a thing out there. But in my picture, it's real clear. And I'm going to share that with you now. Everybody just stay where you are. I'll come to you, all right? Did you get something?
I didn't, no.
Where are we looking?
Sorry.
Oh, there.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh, that's a good one.
While we
Maybe
were
it's
standing
unique.
here, I got this
This
one.
is your lens?
And then next to it,
You don't need those.
I'm gonna try.